What was the breaking point? What made y'all say, you know what? As a young Black couple, we need to get out of debt.
The stress. She would be able to go to sleep at night, but I would struggle with it. So as the head of the household, I took all the weight on my shoulders, and I figured I'm the one who got us in this hole. I need to dig us out. But she wouldn't necessarily feel the brunt of it. She would just hear me complaining about it.
Gotcha.
And I knew that the longer we sat there in debt, the less comfortable I would be.
Yeah.
And the less comfortable that we would be. I don't know. What do you think?
It wasn't as noticeable to me. I knew we had debt, but Rashad is more of a numbers guy.
Okay.
So it weighed on him more.
Did it?
Yeah. So.
Did it. Now, the weight as the man of the house, right? You will go to work and feel that weight. You will come home, see the kids, feel that weight. You will walk around feeling that weight. For the people who are watching us right now, break that down a little bit more. Like, how did that process for you emotionally, mentally, spiritually?
So let's suppose your kids come home with a fundraiser, or they have something where you pay an extra $5 and they get to be out of dress code for a week.
Yeah.
And you're making $115,000, $120,000, but you can't afford it because you have all these debt payments going out, right? So I literally felt like I was going to work for Chase, Bank of America, the credit union.
Yeah.
Every day. That's what I felt like I was going to do. Yeah. That's what I was going to work for, not for my family, not for our retirement.
Say that again.
Yeah. So when they say that the borrower is a slave to the lender, it literally felt like that every day.
It's wow. You're waking up Monday, 6 a.m., Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 6 a.m. to get the paycheck, not so you can get back to your wife, not so you can get back to your kids so they can enjoy life, but so you can go pay all these other, I don't want to say the names, so I want them, I'm going to say Citibank, Bank of America, all these other people, but nothing for your family.
Nope.
Do you think your kids, like your 15-year-old, do you think your 15-year-old understands what y'all were going through? That y'all were making good money, but you didn't really have the money? So
we tried to shield them as much as possible. We had those conversations like, hey, we can't do this for this particular reason. Yeah. And we were pretty transparent with them, but for a 9 or 10-year-old, at the time, you don't necessarily think they really understand how this debt is impacting what we can do with them. And, they had, for the most part, they had their needs. Yeah. But the wants was what they weren't able to really get.
Right.
So where do y'all live right now?
Fort Worth, Texas.
Fort Worth, Texas. Okay. So check this out. All right. So 115 in Fort Worth, Texas, that's good money for a family, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Okay. Because here's my tribe. Whenever I say, like, hey, you're making $115,000, but it depends on where you are. It could be broke. $115,000 in California is not a lot of money. Well, it depends on where you are in California. Yeah. But I think if you're making $100,000 anywhere, as long as you're on a budget, you may not live a luxury lifestyle like you could in Texas, like you could in North Carolina, like you could even in the Georgia area. But yeah, if you're in New York or if you're in California, if you're in the DMV area, that cost of living is going to be a little bit higher. But what I'm hearing you say is, for a season, you and your family was a typical family. We was getting a paycheck, living paycheck to paycheck, making $115,000.
Yeah, so at the time we were making $115,000, and we make more than that now, but
that's a little brag, a little flex. You know what I'm saying? We paid off all of our debt and we made more money. Say what?
So we have gotten significant raises since then, but in addition, paying off that debt gives you a major raise.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, because now that money you can, reallocate towards your family and towards retirement and paying off your house early and things like that.
During those 2 years, I'm curious, what was probably the hardest the hardest thing, the hardest struggle of going through this journey?
I'm going to defer that to the queen.
I can't remember the hardest but the struggle is just like the kids need a new jacket. Just the little things. And it's like you got to find the money to pay for the little things.
Oh, man. And so let's suppose you're paying off the top, you're paying this debt off the top, and something comes up to where you need a jacket or something, or you need to contribute to a fundraiser, but you have already reallocated this money to debt and you're not using credit cards. You got to wait. Like, how else are you going to pay for this? So that was definitely a struggle.
In the Black community, as a Black couple, I'm curious. One of the things I am always faced with is, well, these people say use their money to make us wealthy. Anthony, you say, no, pay their money back and use my money. I'm curious, why did you all not go that way? Why did you all choose, you know what, let's stop this game. Let's stop playing this path and let's join this path of financial freedom?
Well, we did go that way. That's what got us into the trouble we were in.
Ooh, I didn't want to say that. I didn't want to say it.
That's the truth, though. I mean, borrowing other people's money, because it's just easy, you know.
It is.
From the time you're in college, they give you this $500 limit. They give you a pizza, a T-shirt, and from that moment on, you're in debt. You're a slave to the lender. So,
man. So, all right, let's talk about this for people watching this right now. How did y'all do it? How did y'all do it as a couple? What was the strategic plan to get out of this debt trap that you all were in?
So one thing is, money is in the Black community, money is so taboo, man. Having those discussions, having that dialogue about money is taboo. And it's even taboo within your household a lot of time. Like you have, it's usually a nerd and a free spirit within a marriage. And sometimes the nerd doesn't necessarily want to talk to the free spirit, or the free spirit, which is my wife. She feels like anytime I'm questioning her, I'm challenging her, or I'm trying to have a stronghold on her or bully her.
Yeah.
So until we were able to get on the same page and comfortably have those conversations, we weren't going to go anywhere.
Gotcha.
So the first step was to have that dialogue, to just let her know, hey, this is where we stand,
okay,
and these are the steps we need to take to get out of this hole.
So, how did you feel about that first conversation? Was it hard?
So initially, I think when you have somebody who is more
the free spirit, spend that money.
I like to call myself a
I
frugal
see
free
the nails,
spirit.
I see the hair, y'all. She ain't half stepping, y'all. She definitely not. Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, it's the approach. So if you're just like, for a person who is a little more, reserved about it, you need to come with a better approach than just like.
She said, "Come at me correct."
Yeah.
Yes. So I think after a while, I could see the wear and tear. I could see the stress.
Yeah.
He came with a better approach, and we were able to meet in the middle.
Did he come with the right approach in the beginning?
I think it was more hardline. More.
That's her way of saying no, but I'm gonna respect my husband on this show. Not really. So when you say hard line, like what did you say? It was like, yo, no, we're done.
I think it was more like, so when Dave talks about his name being a cuss word in households, I think that's what it is. So you watch a video of Dave Ramsey or whatever, and then you go immediately to your wife and regurgitate whatever he said.
Oh, that's rough.
Yeah, that's rough. That's rough.
That's really rough.
And he's out there.
Because Dave is my guy, but if my wife ever came to me, but Dave Ramsey said, Dave Ramsey ain't paying the bills in the house.
He's not.
You know what I'm saying? That's my guy, because Dave ain't going to his house where Anthony said, what?
Yep.
So I got you. So it was more so of the approach.
So I think versus just, Dave said or this person said, it's about this is what we could have if we did this. This is what we could do if we did it this way.
And for those of y'all watching, well, who is this Dave guy that everyone's talking about? Dave Ramsey is my friend and mentor. I used to be with him for like 6-7 years, still a very close friend of mine. He has taught me pretty much everything I know about money. Dave, we love you. I love you, but my wife can't bring your name up in mine. Okay, so the approach had to be better.
Right.
So now that you know that, tell the men how should they approach their spouses about money, about changing their journey.
I think any man or any woman, right? So if it's the nerd needs to approach the free spirit kind of in a manner that they need to explain the why instead of the what. So if the receiving party does not understand the expected outcomes and why that's going to be beneficial in the future to the family, then they're going to just keep kind of blowing it off, And that's what she just didn't know. She didn't know, So when I started having those initial conversations with her, it did come across a little more hardcore.
Yeah.
But when we start having those conversations, I said, hey, we need to go through FPU.
Yeah.
You know, and I told her why we need to go through it, because we're gonna have more peace at the end of the day. So now she's like, okay, so she's thinking, okay, if the expected outcome is that we have more financial peace, it will be worth it more than going through this same thing over and over again, and him fussing at me and me fussing at him. So
I love it. It's almost like, what's the why? Where are you going?
Absolutely.
What do you do? You know, I take Financial Peace University every year, you know, and I live and teach this, and it's because I want to constantly remind myself of the why I'm going the way I want to go. You know, my mom and dad didn't have a honeymoon; they didn't have a wedding. We lived in a very small 400 square foot apartment, like loft, with me, my mom, and my dad, right? And when I think about my why, this is why some ladies don't like me, because I date on a budget. And I date on a budget not because I'm trying to be anal and cheat with my money. It's because I want to make sure that when I get to my wife, I have the financial freedom. I want to make sure that when I get to my kids, I have the means to provide. Because just like y'all saying, hey, we got to figure out how can we get them a jacket. I remember my parents telling me, hey, I know you have a hole in the bottom of your shoe. We can't buy any shoes. Here's some black duct tape. And I got to put duct tape on the bottom of my shoes so that way my socks won't come out and water won't get in there. And I remember walking around, water still getting in, and I'm having to squeeze out my socks, put them back on, take off my shoes in the middle of class, and I'm embarrassed. I'm doing it underneath my desk. I remember that stuff. And I don't want to do that. So I hear you. It's like, explain the why. When you explain that why, the other person won't feel attacked, won't feel like you're coming at me hard. It's like, okay, he's right. I want to go on vacations with my family. He's right. I want to buy this car one day. He's right. I want to be able to do what we want to do when we want to do it, but we can't do it if we don't change this.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I think that is so, so, so important.